Bible, star of gladness gleaming, to cheer the wanderer lone and tempest-tossed. No storms can hide that radiance peaceful beaming, since Jesus came to seek and save the lost. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precept and promise, law and love combining, till night shall vanish in eternal day. Give me the Bible when my heart is broken, when sin and grief have filled my soul with fear. Give me the precious words by Jesus spoken. Hold up faith's lamp to show my Savior near. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precept and promise, law and love combining, till night shall vanish in eternal day. Give me the Bible, all my steps enlighten, teach me the dangers of these realms below. That lamp of safety o'er the gloom shall brighten, that light alone the path of peace can show. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precept and promise, law and love combining, till night shall vanish in eternal day. Give me the Bible, lamp of life immortal, hold up that splendor by the open grave. Show me the light from heaven's shining portals, show me the glory gilding Jordan's wave. Give me the Bible, holy message shining, thy light shall guide me in the narrow way. Precept and promise, law and love combining, till night shall vanish in eternal day. Break thou the bread of life, dear Lord, to me, as thou didst break the loaves beside the sea. Beyond the sacred page, I seek thee, Lord. My spirit pants for thee, O living word. Bless thou the truth, dear Lord, to me, as thou didst bless the bread by Galilee. Then shall all bondage cease, all fetters fall, and I shall find my peace, my all in all.
Good afternoon.
The old prospector here. We're going to be going and digging for some gold among the pages. Mm-hmm. The pages of God's Word, for there's gold in them pages. I tell you, there's wonderful gold in them pages. Good afternoon, good afternoon. We lost a viewer. Woo-hoo-hoo. Wonder who it was. Who all's here? Hello, hello. Hi, how you doing? Teresa is here again. You're not having it. Well, I'll tell you what do you need done on it? Good afternoon, Betty. Hello, Laura. Missed you this morning. It was a good long discussion. I mean, man, we went all the way up until 11 o'clock today for some reason. Reba, how you doing? Did you have enough time to step out, use the facilities, grab yourself a bite to eat, and get ready for the Nuggets? Power steering, you need a pump replaced. Pretty easy pump, pretty easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. I say that never having seen your vehicle, so I don't know exactly where it's located, but I have a general idea. Do you need it taken off? New one put on? Probably. Or do you just need it fluid put in it, which Sean could probably do? Laura was unaware that her training was going to last a whole month. Oh no. You poor sister. Well, you got a bright spot because you're looking forward to Saturday. When are you leaving? You leaving Friday night? Leaving Friday for Tennessee? Or are you leaving Saturday? You got to trace leaks. The tray leaks. Saturday morning. Well, I'll tell you what, Teresa, you bring it on up here. Bring it on over. I've got a young son who loves mechanics, and he'll trace that leak. Power steering only has a couple of hoses. It's belt driven. Anyhow, of course, where those hoses go is the really issue. I think one goes to each wheel, but I'm not sure. I'm not that much of a mechanic. Oh, you could. You just may have to use, power steering by Armstrong in order to get it up here. What you do is you keep it full of fluid as you drive it up here. Mm-hmm. About every hour or so, stop and make sure you top it off. Hello, Alicia. Or is this Ezra? Alicia, are you the one saying hi? And a disembodied voice says, yes. So, hello, Alicia. She would have thought that was funny, Teresa. She walks in the door and goes, ha ha. And thank you, Reba, for spelling it correctly.
we got several ladies around that, like at art class and stuff, that Amy and Alicia go to, and they always call Alicia Alicia. It's like, really? I guess at least it's not Alice, right?
All righty.
Let's get in. We are in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, and we're going to be examining this vein of the scripture for what nuggets we can find. Cool. We happen to find that Mother used Alicia's name in her book. Spoiler alert, just the name. Anyway, Ecclesiastes chapter 4. And that reminds me, Teresa, I will get that link to you as soon as I can after reading, after Nuggets. I forgot about it, totally spaced it off. My apologies, my sister. Ecclesiastes 4, let's read. Evil under the sun. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed. And they had no comforter, and on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praised the dead which are already dead, more than the living which are yet alive. Yea, better is he than both they, which hath not yet been, who hath not yet seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also a vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together, and eateth his own flesh. Better is an handful with quietness than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned and saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there is not a second. Yea, he hath neither child nor brother, yet is there no end of all his labor. Neither is his eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, for whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good? This also is vanity. Yea, it is a sore travail. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and wise child than an old and foolish king, who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun, with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. What nuggets can we find in this passage? Ezra's coming on tech support, it looks like. So I returned and considered all the oppressors. Solomon is considering the relationship between the oppressors and the oppressed. How that all the authority and all the power appears to be on the side of the oppressors, because might makes right, evidently. And how the oppressed don't have any comforter. They have no one there, apparently, to stand for them, to protect them. So therefore, in that case, those who are dead are better off than the living, because it's better to be dead, a dead oppressed, than it is to be alive oppressed. That's why he praised the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Because it's better not to see, it's better not to see the evil that is being done on this earth without God, life under the sun. Evil without God. And the phrase under the sun seems to symbolize that idea that of a life without God. In a life without God, there is no comforter for the oppressed. There is only evil on the side of the oppressors. There's only might, or there's only strength and power on the side of the oppressors. If there is no God, Solomon is saying, it's better to be dead than it is to be alive. Then he considers this aspect of all work, of all the travail, and every right work that is that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. Which, he says, this is also is vanity, is emptiness, and a waste of time, a waste of your energy, in other words. The fool folds his hand together and eats his own flesh. Why? Well, he's wasting his time. He's wearing himself away, chasing after emptiness. So in that manner, yes, he's eating his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness than both hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. It's better to eat your meat in peace than to have both your, than to have no lack of food or sustenance with travail, with working vexation of spirit, with all the worry that goes along with it. It's better just to have a little bit in one hand with peace. So he comes back and he looks at the emptiness of life without God, a life under the sun. Emptiness. There is one alone, and there's not a second. There's one alone. No one else with him. He doesn't have a child or a brother, yet he has what? He has work. He works and he works and he works. And it's not enough. The riches that he has is not enough. To fill him. Nor does he even consider what's going to happen with what he's doing. He doesn't stop to consider the fact that he's working and he's amassing all these riches. For what purpose? He doesn't stop and say, for whom do I work? Who do I afflict my soul of good? I don't even get a chance to play, y'all. And Solomon says this also is emptiness. It's a sore travail. It's a sore labor, a sore work. Pretty sure I'm not saying that. Employment. Okay, I was right. So it's a sore work. It's a sore employment. It's a poor use of my time. It's emptiness. Solomon says, life without God means that you're alone in this world. Life without God, there's no comforter to deliver the oppressed. Life without God, work is meaningless. Just as meaningless as life lived alone with no heir, no relative to pass on what you're making, what you're doing, what you're earning. Now it comes to this one. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. Why? Because you get more done. With two people, you get you get more done. You can accomplish twice as much and get paid twice as good. For if they fall, the one's going to lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he doesn't have anybody else to help him up. So if one gets too tired, can't pull the plow, can't do what's needed to get things in, his crops go to waste. Yet if there's two, they can stand together. When one gets tired, he can take a break and the other one can keep going. They can pull the plow together. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? That's a good question. You know, if you're in your bed, if you're camping out in the middle of the park, you got your tent over you, and you may have a blanket on, are you going to be as warm as if you had another person there? Of course not. If you're caught in a dangerous situation where you're cold, wet, and in the midst of the wilderness, would it not be better to have someone to share your burden? To help heat so you don't get your death of pneumonia? So you can make it through the night? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. So if you're in a battle, wouldn't it be better to have a second person helping you? Right? Right? You're going to overcome a single opponent if there's two of you. If there's three, oh yeah, you're definitely going to overcome. Notice it doesn't say that three are better than one in working. That's the case. If you have two people working, there'll be a little bit of jabber as they work, but they'll actually continue to work. You get three, you're going to have one at least standing around, doing nothing, distracting the other two. Better is a poor and wise child than an old and foolish king who will no more be admonished. Why? The child at least listens. The foolish king doesn't. Thinks he knows everything. And because he thinks he knows everything, he's in a prison of his own making. And his kingdom suffers because the king does not listen to wise counsel. Rehoboam stands in one way as a classic example of this. Although he wasn't an old king by any measure, when Solomon died and he took over, he refused to listen to wise counsel. He was imprisoned by his own stupidity, just like this foolish king. I considered all the living which walk under the sun with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There's no end of all the people, even all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this is vanity and vexation of spirit. When we finally go the way of the world, the way of all life, a life without God, life has been empty, with no one to remember, none to care. Even if we have children to the nth degree, a life without God means there is no hope of remembrance. A life with God, on the other hand, means that God will remember. There's no end of all the people, of all that have been before them and all that come after. None are going to rejoice in him. It's almost to say, Solomon's equating this line of people that do not have a life with God as nothing more than the beasts of the field, of the earth. There's no end of all the beasts that have come before them. They all died. This one will die, and his children to the nth generation will not remember him. Surely this is also emptiness and a vexing, a worrying, a taxing of the spirit. What's Solomon's point? The golden nugget from Ecclesiastes 4 is to live our life with God. For only in God can we find fulfillment in our work, in our family, and in our play. And that is your nugget for the day. There be gold in them pages. Let's keep digging, shall we? Join us next time as we examine more vein from God's holy word. I'm the old prospector. Keep digging, y'all.